Broncos country. Welcome to the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast, where tonight we have a training camp overload for you guys. We can't wait, so let's get to it. Here we go.
Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast.
Oh, just so many sound effects. Oh my God, Broncos country. Welcome to the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network from training camp week. Oh, guys, I am so pumped that we get to be here with you guys. We've missed last week due to some unforeseen circumstances, family emergencies, and the like. We tried to go live twice in the last week, and yet every single time we got screwed over by some other circumstances, so we do apologize. But now, here we are on our normal time, Tuesday night, to talk Broncos football. Speaking of Jay, we are only 10 days away from a football game.
Well, like a Broncos game at that, but like we've got even less days until an NFL game. Like the Hall of Fame game is this week.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I don't count those. I'm talking about Broncos football, baby. Woo! Oh,
I'm just excited to have football back. Like I said last, I know it seems like a long time ago, but last show I said I was ready for the pumpkin spice. I was ready for the flannel. I was ready for the fall feels. And dude, the more we get down training camp, the more I'm just excited for week one. And it's almost here.
It's almost here, cuz. And, there's so much to talk about. Tonight's episode is literally titled Training Camp Information Overload, because since we haven't gone live in a week, there is so much for us to talk about. So, guys, buckle up, get ready, because we're about to blow our own minds out. You can see my dog hanging out in the corner back there being crazy, like poking her head up. It's really funny. Anyway, guys, yeah. So let's get the housekeeping stuff out of the way quickly, and then we'll get right to it. Welcome everybody to the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network. I am your host, Johnny Baki, and joining me as always, my childhood best friend, my cousin, Jay the Dreamweaver Weaver. What's up, cuz?
Glad to have those summer vibes, man. The summer is coming. or I mean, it's been here, but it's going. You know,
Yeah,
kids are going back to school. Football's back upon us. I'm ready to turn the corner and
yeah, cooler weather. I'm ready for some cooler weather.
So excited.
I'm very ready for that cooler weather. Guys, thank you for joining us. Before we go any further, I'd like to give a shout out to W.GG, the sponsor of tonight's show. When you need some energy, but you don't want the jitters, W is your best friend. Guys, W comes in so many delicious flavors. It has 2 cups of caffeine. Wow. 2 cups of coffee worth of caffeine in every single drink. But the best part, you don't get the jitters. You don't get a crash. You just drink it, you feel good, and then you come down and you drink it again and you feel good and you come down. I love it. And guys, no calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin, no fillers, no artificial colors. It's not artificial. It is all natural and it is delicious. I highly recommend the Beach and Peach. And now I definitely recommend the Calio Cream, which is the orange cream and mango flavor, which, oh my God, it will knock your socks off. Guys, make sure you jump on over to W.GG, get yourself a dub, and when you do, punch in NRWOB10 at the checkout to get 10% off your order. NRWOB10 at the checkout. That gets you 10% off, guys. I don't see a downside. And with that being said, Jay, Master of Merch, would you please plug the merch store for me?
Oh, absolutely. So, again, last time I was in that fall mood. I had hoodies, just regular hoodies to present last time. Today I've got zip-up hoodies. And there's this serious model here that does not want to show us the front of his jacket or his face, but that's okay because these are some great designs. These are some great zip-up here.
I just want to say real quick, you can see on some of those where you can't see some of the lettering because it's black. It does present the option with white lettering so that you can get a black hoodie and see it. I'm just saying.
Correct. And there are different colors of such hoodies as well. But I mean, it really, honestly, in the fall fashion of such, there's no wrong answer. I mean, you got this baseball long sleeve here.
I love that.
Tremendous. Really, all these long sleeves. This is like a quarter sleeve, whatever they call that. Well, they call it a baseball t-shirt. Well, batter up.
It's a half sleeve, but whatever.
There you go. A lot of good options though here to nestle up for the fall.
So, guys, make sure you jump into the link that's down in the bio below. Get yourself some merch. Show everybody that you rep the Orange and Blue crew of Orange and Blue Network. So, guys, now let's talk Broncos, okay? Because I don't think I can wait anymore. Jay, can you?
No, I've been waiting a long time to diarrhea out the mouth of all these opinions from Twitterverse, from all the different sources out in the wild, World Wide Web. Man, Broncos
Webby.
wrong right now. Like,
oh yeah,
everybody's out there.
Everybody's got an opinion.
It's true. A lot of opinions out there. It is the season of opinion. I want to say Cecil Lammy said that of everybody thinks something and no one's wrong, but no one's right also.
Well, I mean, and that's the truth. I mean, of course, except for us as your loyal Orange and Blue fanalists, we're always right, always. So anything that you hear on this show, you can go ahead and just take it to the bank because it's obviously true because we said it.
Yep.
I'm just saying, I'm so full of crap.
Research.
I'm so full of crap.
And may I plug a certain individual, Isaiah, he has done some great research into training camp thus far, and I've really appreciated his Twitters. He's got
his tweets
going on right now. X's, whatever we're calling it these days.
Oh, dude, I don't even understand. Why is it X now? All of a sudden, it's been Twitter forever. Why change it? Like everybody calls it Twitter. I'm still calling it Twitter. I'm not like, hey guys, I'm gonna go check my X. No.
Mr. Musk is from
he's from another planet. Yeah.
He's from Planet X, so it makes.
It makes sense. It makes all the sense. all of it. But anyway, we already got our good friend Avatar in the house saying, "What's up, Broncos country and 2023 NBA champs Nuggets Nation?" Love it.
Cheers.
Our buddy Ron Samples from over at Everything Broncos podcast says, "What's up, Broncos country? Ready for some Broncos football?" I am. Mm-hmm. I think that's galloping. I'm feeling horsey.
Like the horsey sauce? Like this.
Yeah, I like that. I'm feeling horsey. Okay. Do you feel horsey, baby? I'm just saying. Now,
according to this here, we start the horsiness August 10th through the 12th.
And yep, we are 10 days away from some Broncos football on the field, on our TVs. And it's preseason football, but I don't care. Because Sean Payton has said the starters are all playing in the preseason. So get over yourselves if you think the starters aren't playing. All right? This is not – no. Look, I am okay with it.
It's a lot of talk. Again, it goes both ways these days here.
It goes both ways. But come on, man. What did the product look like when we sat all of our starters in the preseason last season? It was abhorrent.
I would say so far it's go to show that it doesn't really matter what you do because you get injuries either way. Timmy P went down last year. Timmy P went down this year. So what does it matter?
Okay, real quick. Yeah, we'll go ahead.
Whatever.
Timmy P's injury is obviously the news of the week. Everybody's talking about it. It's the biggest thing out there right now, and it sucks. It absolutely effing blows. I get it. But I'm going to point something out right now, real quick, when it comes to that injury, all right? Opposite leg from his ACL injury, his ACL tear from last year. Now, almost to the day, he tore his ACL on August 2nd last year. He tore his Achilles on July 31st. How crappy does that feel? But one thing that we can say is that when rehabbing something, and this is not his fault, this isn't Bo and the training staff's fault. It's just part of it. I have a gimp leg. You know that, Jay. And I can say definitively, even when you're rehabbing, sometimes, unfortunately, the good limb gets a little bit neglected. Not intentionally, but obviously you can only do so much. And while they're rehabbing the bad leg and getting it better, his good leg is also overcompensating for all of the damage on his bad leg. Through all that, he went for a catch. He got the catch. He landed wrong. Kind of fell sideways, threw the ball, screamed through his helmet, his gloves, because he had and they confirmed it with an MRI today, confirmed completely torn Achilles. He is definitely out at least for another year.
There is a significant savings to releasing him now. And it is just unfortunate because he at least got paid before all this happened.
Yeah.
There is the silver lining that he got generational money.
Silver lining for him, not for the Broncos.
Of all players, he deserved it because he was one of those grinders that deserved it by the work he put in over the years.
Absolutely.
But he will no longer take a snap as Denver Bronco, in my opinion. Sad as it is to say, I would say same thing.
It's possible, yet unlikely.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with it.
And I guess I'd say the exact same thing about another wide receiver we lost on the exact same day.
Yeah, but that was kind of coming. It just so happened that Timmy P got hurt at the same time. It was just bad luck. I mean, let's be honest, Jay. Yesterday, as a whole, effing blew. I mean, for myself personally, I mean, my adopted mother passed away. Which big shout out to Mama Deb. I love you. I will miss you forever. And thank you for all you've done for me all my life. And thank you for the memories. She passed away yesterday, and then we get the news of Timmy P and we get the news of KJ Hamler. It just was a bad day. It just was a bad day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and KJ has been waived with a non-football injury, pericarditis. For those who are not medically inclined, such as myself, well, not such as myself, I am medically inclined. 8 years as a U.S. Army combat medic. What's up? Anyway, pericarditis, for those that don't know, is an irritation of the lining surrounding the heart. It is not life-threatening. However, if you continue to push it while it is irritated that way, it can permanently damage the heart muscle, which then can be life-threatening. That is why KJ elected to take a step back, heal up, and then come back and play football, because it will heal. If you let it rest, it will heal. And once it is healed, it's like it was never there.
It
is very unfortunate
because he's a second-round draft pick. That if we had any reason to be suspicious of him being claimed, we would not have just released him, because basically what to me seems like is that he can't pass a physical. So even if a different team wanted to sign him, he's not going to be able to be signed. He's like physically unable to
here's
play
the thing.
right now.
Here's the thing. Actually, from what I've understood, that isn't the case. He ultimately, when he went in for his checkup, they found the pericarditis, and he was informed. He was informed. He's in playing shape. He's been in playing shape. He was informed that if he continues to push it while like this, it could end his career and or even his life down the road. So he chose to take a step back. The Broncos waiving him, that was their way of saying, okay, we respect your decision. We're not just going to cut you. We're going to waive you. And he can go. He can rest up. He can get healthy. And he has said that he intends to come back to Denver.
I'm just very surprised at that route they took, if that is indeed a plausible route to come back to. I mean, they could have thrown him on IR. They could have thrown him on PUP. I mean, there are a lot of routes to go, but I mean, I guess it says something that you lose another person at the same position the same day. I mean,
absolutely.
How do you know what to do?
It was a bad news day in Broncos country.
Insane.
Like, that is truly what it comes down to. Real quick, I just want to point out my awesome new toy over here. How cool is that thing?
It's pretty cool.
Like, guys, what you are seeing there is I have a magnifying screen for a cell phone screen that looks like a vintage TV. And I've got awesome, like, highlights of the Broncos over the years just on repeat, playing through it, just because it is so much fun. I love it. I love being able to glance sideways there and see, like, just a second ago, a beautiful pass to Demaryius Thomas from Peyton Manning. That was awesome. So we've already got a few more of our buddies in the house right now. We got a 6'10" Mexican, Adon Diaz, coming in saying, salutations, Broncos country. And our good friend, our new friend, but a good friend. This person we just met a few weeks ago, but he personally texted me after finding out about the loss of my adopted mom today and asked how I was doing. Like, like, that just shows the closeness we have in Broncos country, you guys. When somebody who just a few weeks ago was a complete stranger, suddenly, like, if you find out that their family member's gone, they text you. They're like, hey, I'm just checking on you, man. Like, Kevin, I want to say, brother, I appreciate you and thank you. He says, hey, what's up, guys? So with Tim done for the year and KJ was waived due to his heart conditions, what do we think Denver should do when it comes to the wide receiver room?
Boy, I don't know about you, Johnny. I know that there's a lot of internal candidates. Marquise Callaway comes to mind, former New Orleans Saint.
Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Lil Jordan Humphrey, another same thing, kind of a retread of New Orleans. And those guys are doing very well so far, and that shouldn't be a surprise. They already know the system. So they should be doing, ahead of the curve when it comes to, T-shirt and short drills.
Sure.
I still think there is a need for outside help. And I am a full proponent in going to get a big-bodied Timmy P replacement, because I don't necessarily trust Cortland Sutton to be the lone big body in that room. Think of all the other big bodies
So what would you think about all right, so coming to mind, I'm sitting here, I'm going through wide receivers that are still available on the free agency market. So what would you think about, say, Kenny Golladay coming over from the New York Giants?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. He's a younger prospect that still has some left in the tank, but I don't know if he is necessarily the exact big.
I don't think you're going to find at this point. I don't think we're going to find an exact. I mean, let's look at who's available right now. You got Kenny Golladay, you got Julio Jones, you got Jarvis Landry. Those are the top three names.
Julio would be my person, but at least from what I saw when Julio was like in Tennessee, he still sees himself as a number one wide receiver.
I was about to ask, do you really want the Julio headache here, though?
Yeah, correct. And there is a Julio headache, but if Julio would just be Larry Fitzgerald,
yeah, I mean, and looking at the list here, I'm looking at the list here of available wide receivers. I mean, we're looking at Sammy Watkins.
No thanks.
Amari Rodgers, and no that's thanks. Mark. I can see Marcus Johnson maybe, but there's just
to me that tells me there's got to be a trade on the horizon or something, because that prototype type of wide receiver we have to have. New Orleans has showed they had to have. That's what Michael Thomas is. Granted,
yeah, but I mean,
Michael Thomas could form of Cortland
Do you think? Let me ask you this. So just then we can move on to another topic, because oh my gosh, we could spend all episode on this one. But let me ask you this, right? Cortland Sutton, obviously he struggled the last few seasons. Mm-hmm. Now 2021. The struggle was he was coming off that injury, and he was probably overly cautious about re-injury. We all saw it. It sucked. We hated it. It was obvious that he was. He came back too early, and you could tell that he wasn't necessarily comfortable putting everything out on the field, because he was he was mentally not there yet.
Yeah.
Now enter Nathaniel Hackett, and it has been well established at this point that was not a good coaching scheme for the entire team. So Court didn't. Yeah. We'll talk about that too. But it wasn't a good scheme for anybody really on the team. It wasn't good for Russ, which was and when it's not good for Russ, it's not good for the receivers. So hang on. So thinking about maybe Cortland Sutton returning to 2019 form before he got hurt and was out for the 2020 season. I mean, do you think with a coach like Sean Payton, who comes in, who does say what he said, I don't give a crap about his apology. His apology to me is just damage control directed by the organization. He said what he meant, and he meant what he said. And I loved it. I personally loved it. And we'll definitely still, again, we're going to get into that. But, I think that him doing that, I think him coming out and saying what he said was a way for him to take the entire spotlight onto himself, make all the burns directed at him off of his players, give them the chance at a fresh start. And I think that honestly is a big part of why he did what he did, why he said what he said. Do you think having a coach like that who comes in and has that kind of faith, but also has the ability to get the best he can out of every single player on his roster, and has proven that in the past, could help Cortland Sutton return to form? I do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Marcus Callaway is a perfect example of that. I want to say that he led the New Orleans Saints in receiving yards one entire year. With the entire injuries that they had. Granted, they were a horrible team, but he does make nothing, something out of nothing.
No. He makes lemonade out of shit.
He's smart. I mean, he is a extremely smart schematic coach that is going to put his players in the best position. That's honestly the biggest reason why I'm so excited for someone like a Greg Dulcich coming into the year. Just because of the history that I've seen with Sean Payton and tight ends, and what he can do with a double tight end set.
Dulcich, Troutman, all of them.
Yeah,
they're all going to eat in whatever form or fashion, whether that be catches, blocks, whatever. They're all going to feast as tight ends.
We'll see the reincarnation of Albert O. And everyone will have to learn his name again.
For a second, he dropped a very catchable pass today in camp.
He'll do that.
Yeah, he'll do that, and it makes me nervous. Okay, from what I understand, and this is from our buddy Hank over at DNVR from Henry. Yeah, that's right. You know him better than I do on a personal level. You love him, and this is from his position on Twitter. There is zero reason that Alberto should have dropped that pass. Zero.
And Greg Dulcich hasn't looked the greatest in the world either throughout camp.
I don't know.
But that's going to honestly be the bigger focus. Is I think once you lose a player like Timmy P, there is no replacement. The replacement is in the middle. Those big body tight ends are your next big body.
And wide receivers, and we also know that Jerry Jeudy is not afraid to cross the middle either.
True. It is nice to have the number
I'm going to bring this
willing
up.
To go over the middle.
Going back to what we were talking about with our free agent wide receivers that are available. Kevin makes a great point. Kenny Golladay is only 29 years old. He's not that old, and he got paid and then lost his starting job.
Correct, but he got paid from what? Giants, the New York Giants paid him, and he lost his job. I mean, there are wide receivers I'm sure still out there that we can make projects out of that can plug a hole to a certain degree, but we also still haven't seen the camp casualties of veterans getting released, and wide receiver is one of those positions that a lot of teams save money on with, veteran cuts.
So right now, let's be honest, there's nobody from our wide receiver room that can afford to get cut right now.
No, no, not.
So let's
go ahead.
So no, go.
Well, I was just going to say, but we also had this thought a week ago that Cortland Sutton was going to be traded. So it's just so crazy how time just flips. And
I didn't think he was. I said there was a possibility. I thought that if there was one person that might get traded, it might be Court. Not anymore.
I thought the wide receiver room was probably the biggest strength of the team. It's the most expensive room. So
that's for sure.
But now look at us.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's move on to some other things we've seen in camp. The secondary. Holy crap.
Tenacious.
Oh my God. I mean, that our secondary is just absolutely money.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been seeing nothing but praises across the board for every single member of our secondary, including our rookie before he who took ill. I understand Riley Moss. He's got a little bug going on, so he's been out a couple of days. But okay, people get sick. It happens. All right, that's why they get when you work a real job. That's why they give you sick time. Mm-hmm. It exists for that reason. People get sick. All right, so everybody calm down about our rookie getting sick. I've seen a lot of people going, "Well, he's not going to be productive." No, that's not true. Okay, he's sick, okay? You catch the flu, you stay home a couple of days.
Well, I will say, we did sign Fabian Moreau.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Which, he's a productive cornerback. He's not a camp body. He's someone that's probably going to make this roster. So, I mean, that's not a thing on Damari Mathis.
No. Mathis, all I've been hearing is that he is a perfect 1-2 punch with Pat Surtain.
Absolutely. That's what I've been hearing as well. So I know there's no issue in that regard. You got Riley Moss as presumably your 3 nickel. I mean, I guess you still have...
Presumably.
Oh my gosh. What is our nickel? Alexander...
What are you talking about? What?
Who's our nickel cornerback?
It was now we got rid of him, didn't we? My brain is falling apart right now.
Yep, I am too. I will fix this.
Yeah, please fix this. Please.
Commenters, thank you, Williams.
Williams. Thank you, Kevin.
Kayvon Williams.
Yeah, Kayvon Williams.
Hello.
I mean, look at us. We look. You know what, Kevin? We quit. I'm out. Kayvon Williams. Thank you, and I'm out. I'm absolutely out. I quit. I'm going to end the show right now. because I'm embarrassed right now. I can't believe we forgot that. We were singing his praises all season.
It's true, but I just feel like it's interesting we signed a veteran cornerback in a time where we have other positions that are dropping like flies, but yet we're signing a position of strength.
Yeah, I mean,
status.
Here,
strange?
maybe a little. I think a big part of it was probably, again, thank you, Kevin, for helping us with K1 Williams. Appreciate it, buddy. But I think a big part of it could be that the deal was already almost done when Timmy P went down.
Yeah.
I
suppose that could be true.
He'd gotten worked out by Miami. He'd gotten worked out by Denver. I think he had a workout in New York, maybe. I think.
Sure.
And I think the Broncos wanted him, and they were getting ready. They were about to make their offer, or they had made their offer. Then Timmy P goes down, but they're like, well, this is already all but done. We saw we needed him before. We still need him now, and so they finished it.
And you have to, I guess, to think back, VJ is a defensive backs defensive coach. He loves his defensive backs. So is George Payton, really.
Well, I mean, and realistically, this team is going to field 5 or 6 cornerbacks on the roster, on the active roster. So I mean, it really doesn't hurt to have somebody who's a very capable starting caliber back, whether he's going to be your starter or not. He may take that step back from being a starter. He took a step back before this. So, he may not be our starter. He probably won't be. Our starters are more than likely, I'd say 90% right now from what I'm hearing is going to be K1 Williams. Here I go. Now I'm remembering the name when I don't want to.
He's going to be starting nickel.
Yeah, sure. Probably. And you know what?
PS2.
Yeah. You got Mathis and PS2, and I mean, you're still fielding K1 Williams as of right now. You got him. You got Riley Moss, rookie. He can rotate in.
Bassey.
Yeah.
That's another guy that easily could be one of those people that get clipped. He's been with us for a while. He's been multiple regimes. He's not one of their guys, as they say.
No, he's not. He's not one of their guys.
I could see that then.
No, but to finish up the secondary, the rest of the secondary as a whole, Justin Simmons, Caden Stearns, absolutely lighting up camp.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm so happy to see him healthy.
Yes,
that's a big deal, and it's if he can just stay healthy. He's been on the peak for K-Jack's job.
Yeah, well, I mean, and all due respect to K-Jack, because K-Jack has earned that respect. But, Caden is showing he can do exactly what K-Jack does. Younger, maybe even a little bit more effective right now, and for cheaper.
But less of the leadership, which is what this young team needs. And so, why I was so happy to see K-Jack back, because we still need the leadership of him and Simmons.
And he will. And speaking of Simmons looking absolutely phenomenal at camp right now. Just showing interceptions. And by the way, okay, please tell me that you were paying attention to Twitter after the news went out that Simmons had jumped the route and intercepted Russ in 11-on-11s, and the entirety of Broncos Twitterverse, Xverse exploded with, well, we're done. Russ is gonna be, Russ is repeating. It's Russ all over again. Okay. Listen, all right. No quarterback is perfect. Okay, that is his first interception in 11-on-11s in camp. It was done by currently ranked the third best free safety, not just free safety, the third best safety in the NFL, who reads routes like a book, jumps the route, gets a perfect interception. Listen, I understand. I feel the concern. I get it. Okay, Russ was an interception machine last year. Why? Because he had no time to throw the freaking ball.
Well, and
now he's
Unfortunately, the same excuse is same as last year, is that we are installing a brand new offense, and a defense automatically has the advantage over an offense at this time of year.
Yes,
especially with a brand new offensive package being installed. So, even though it was true last year,
It's still true this year.
It is still true. And you cannot forget the fact. You cannot forget the fact. Both sides of our team need the practice.
Yeah.
Okay? Listen, is it disconcerting that Russ threw an interception in 11-on-11s? Meh, maybe a little. Should we also be excited that Justin Simmons read a very experienced quarterback's eyes and jumped around and got an interception? Yeah. You should be ecstatic. That's exciting. Okay, Russell Wilson also threw a beautiful pass that was caught one-handed on the sideline to Cortland Sutton over the head of shutdown Pat Surtain II. Okay, the guy who quarterbacks don't throw to. They don't. They do not target his side of the field. And Russ threw a beautiful pass that only Cortland could catch over Pat Surtain's head. Listen. I understand you being concerned after the interception issues last year, but calm the hell down, Broncos country.
But you know what? I sympathize because look at where we've been. We've had Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch camp battles. We've had Case Keenum coming in here writing books. We've had Joe Flacco. Think of the horror stories.
Don't forget we actually had Mark Sanchez for a minute too.
Horror stories.
Don't forget we had Mark Sanchez, Mark Sanchez for a minute too.
I'm very sensitive to our quarterback position.
I am too.
I see it on the field in true, okay, that's a playoff quarterback.
Okay, I can completely get that, right? I do. I'm with you. I sympathize too. I feel it too. I'm not saying I'm blind to it, but I'm also saying give the guy a little bit of a break. It's camp. Okay, Geno Smith, the guy that took over after Russ left Seattle, who also earned Comeback Player of the Year for the NFL last year. Okay. Thank you. He's already thrown 3 interceptions in 11-on-11s on Friday alone. Okay? Calm down. It's 1 interception.
It's true.
If Russ threw 5 interceptions in one practice, then I'd kind of be like, he's thrown 1. For the entirety of camp, he has thrown 1 in 11-on-11s.
I've heard multiple media members say that they have noticed that he has actually been throwing to PS2 side and trying to poke the bear, because that's what we're all here for. This is the time.
This is what camp is for.
Not standing around like last year.
Well, because it's up to Russ to also strengthen PS2.
True.
You want PS2 to be the most effective cornerback he can be in the regular season? You're going to have to target him in camp also. It's the only way. Okay? Because he's got to get his practice in too. All right? Football skills are perishable skills, guys. You don't practice them, you don't do anything. Here you go.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Kevin says Mahomes threw 5 picks in a practice and training camp the year he was getting ready to be a starter.
It's true. I remember that. I remember that story because I sent it to my friend saying, "Oh, you guys are in trouble."
That did not age well, Jay.
Damn it. Yep.
But the point is, the point I'm making is, Russ threw an interception, but Simmons got an interception. All right. Simmons, a good friend of this show. We he's been on this show. We love Justin. He's a great guy. Good friend of Orange and Blue Network. Good job. Well done.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. So moving on from that little narrative there.
Do you have a next subject? Do you have an itinerary?
Oh no, you go right ahead, Jay. Bring me something. Bring me some gold.
I would love to get your updated opinion as of 8/1/2023 on the running back room as you see it today. Because my opinions have changed a wee bit.
A wee bit?
I would like to give you the platform to just reiterate where you see that room as it stands now.
As it stands. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head the name of the new guy that is running circles around the defense.
Jaleel McLaughlin.
Jaleel McLaughlin. Thank you.
Yes.
I knew it was McLaughlin or McLaughlin, something Irish.
The little stud, 5'7", 187 pounds. I mean, he fits in a potato sack.
Yeah, but apparently he's finding every hole that the offensive line creates.
And Isaiah is the first to claim he will be our punt returner, kick returner, and I don't discard that because I mean he is dynamite. He is exactly what you want.
Kid is TNT. Oh my God! But no, so snappy. But as of right now, Javonte Williams. First of all, hang on. Had to yell at the dog. I apologize.
Redeem yourself.
All right. So you asked me where my point of view is on that room. Okay.
Where are you?
It may not be exactly what you think it'll be. So bear with me here. Running back 1, Javonte Williams. And here's why. That kid has been at every single practice, has not quit a single time. He is supposed to be given a day off tomorrow. And guess what he said to James Palmer? I'm not taking a day off. I'm going to be there in pads practicing.
Say always.
Yeah, this kid is hungry. He is ready.
We may have an Adrian Peterson on our hands. Like I know that's an exception, but like
lay down.
I am continued to be just absolutely
floored by this kid. Unbelievable. And he's up there, he's so nonchalant about it at the podium. He's just like, yeah, man, I'm just here, but I just want to play football. And I'm like, respect, bro. Mad respect. Yeah. Because, I'm going to be honest with you. I like my job. I do. I enjoy my job. I actually am sad some days on days when I don't get to go to work. Like I'm sick or something. I'm actually sad that I'm not at the office. I love my office. I love what I do. But if my boss offers me a day off, I promise you I'm taking it in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. But Javonte, they're like, no, why don't you sit out one practice? He's like, no, man, I'm going to put on my pads. I'm going to be there with everybody else doing my thing. So Javonte, undisputed RB1. Undisputed. Yeah. And the way he's cutting right now, I'm not scared at all. I'm not scared at all. And I've lost, and I have officially, and you, me, and Isaiah have all lost a steak dinner to Taiwan over this.
We have not gotten there yet. Now, let me
come on.
Steak. Speaking of steak, let me put a stake in the ground right here in the discussion.
Okay.
I think from that point on, we all, at least I think I see the 2 and 3 spot the same way you do. And then you got Samaje Perine, and then you got this kid McLaughlin that's
false.
Going to be a okay, let's stay on Javonte real quick though.
Okay.
With the news of Timmy P, does that not make you just pause for a second and say, Javonte, I could give a rat's beat what you think. You're going to be limited, and you're going to have this amount of work that we're giving you no matter what we see.
Oh, that's probably exactly what's going to happen. He's going to show up tomorrow. He's going to be in pads, and they're probably going to be like, you can jog on the sidelines. But he's still, but regardless, I guess what I'm saying is that he's not going to get all the work tomorrow because they told him he's taking a day off. They told him that. But he said, no, I'm still going to be there. So, I mean, they're going to limit him. They're going to limit him.
I hope.
The fact that they're like, the fact that they offer him a day off, a day to sit at home and rest, kick his leg up, all that. He's like, no. I'm still coming in.
I guess my point to that, though, is that they're not going to say that week 2 going into week 3, week 3 going into week 4. Like, no. I just hope they keep that same mentality when we get into the actual season so that we have him available on week 17.
Oh, absolutely. All right. So moving on. We both agree. I know we both agree on running back 2. It is Samaje Perine.
Yes.
There's no question. Which, by the way, please tell me that now during camp, your tune has been changed on Samaje Perine just a wee bit.
He's a solid back. Like, he's very solid. He is Latavius Murray. I mean, for all purposes, he is that.
He's a big body with a lot of power. and he'll wrestle his way forward for the yards he
High
wants.
ceiling. Like, he's never going to put the ball on the ground. He's a solid investment. He's a good back.
I'm excited to see him. And how about that beard, man? Like,
pretty mean.
That's a nice beard.
Yep.
He's mean looking. Anyway, love it. Now, here's where we differ. You went straight to Jaleel McLaughlin. Yeah, I love it. I do. But I'm going to give that spot to Tyler Beatty, who has absolutely also been showing up big time in camp. And the reason I'm doing that,
the local kid too.
He is a local kid. One thing I love about what I've been hearing out of camp. Now, obviously, the things that we're getting out of camp this year are minuscule compared to last season.
Nothing.
We get snippets. Had to do it. But we're getting tiny little bits of it. But from what I've been hearing, Tyler Beatty has also been absolutely amazing in the run game in camp. And so here's what I think. If Jaleel McLaughlin, however you say it right, is running the way he is, and as our good buddy and co-host and co-founder of this network, Isaiah thinks that he is going to be the Denver Broncos returner, I would not be, if I was Sean Payton. Sean Payton is very smart. I've got another solid back that I can slot in at 3, and put more snaps on, and keep the guy who is potentially the golden goose of my special teams healthier.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going with Javonte, Samaje Perine, Tyler Beatty, and then running back 4, so that they don't waste a slot just on special teams. Giving that to Jaleel McLaughlin, and then he can play special teams and he can get some snaps on the field.
And you get a Tomlinson or someone else to play fullback, or there's not really a need for a fullback.
Unfortunately, that makes me so. That makes me.
It is what it is. Like, we've moved past that.
No, I haven't. I'm not over it yet, Jay. You're over it. Not.
But I see the running back room basically the same as you. Tyler Beatty or someone insert another back. I do think we carry 4 running backs for sure. With the uncertainty of where Pookie is or where Pookie's going to be, you have to carry 4. I feel like.
Yeah.
And then wide receiver, you're going to have to stack up too because of the uncertainty in that room. So it
absolutely
just kind of puts you at a disadvantage of, I think, bulking up the offensive line, which is something that I have heard in camp lacks depth. We have a tremendous starting line, but there ain't much behind them. So if we get an injury, it's slim pickings.
We'll get there.
As it is on any line, but,
That seems like a perfect segue, though, into talking about the offensive line. Segue. Before we do that, though, D-Rock finally in the house. He says, I'm late, but I'm here. It's good to see you, buddy. Yeah, welcome, D-Rock.
By the way, for anyone else that is out there, I would like to take a pulse of the arena here and see who would like to join in a fantasy football league.
For Orange and Blue Network.
Yes, we're trying to get some players together, looking at the ESPN platform.
My favorite.
Looking to get as many people as possible, but we want to get at least 10. But looking at like 12 to 15 if possible. So
which means we have room for about 10 of our fans to join us.
Yes, so if you guys want, please email in the comments, or send either me or Johnny or Isaiah or really anyone a direct message. We can get you in touch with myself, who is going to be setting up the draft time. I'm going to get a poll out there to make sure everyone's available, because we don't want any auto drafts out there.
No, we don't. Yeah, hit us up. Probably the easiest way, if you are interested, is to hit one of us up on X in our DMs. All right. But if not, you can always find us. You can email us at nothingrhymespod at gmail.com. That's another place you can email us if I check that daily if you're interested. So yeah, guys, join us. Let's play some fantasy football, baby.
Absolutely. And that is not going to take away from all the fun we'll have all season long talking about some fantasy aspects, some betting aspects, some...
Hey, Jay, do you realize, like I've already said it, but it just like hit me in the face. Not only are we 10 days away from seeing a Broncos game, that means we're also 10 days away from the Get Bucked pregame show and the Buck Your Feelings postgame show's return.
Oh, wow.
Holy crap, bro!
That hasn't even hit. Check one, check two.
Yeah, I know, for real. All right.
Down.
Yeah, so guys, get ready, because starting next week, the Get Bucked pregame show and the Buck Your Feelings postgame show will be back.
Yeah, and I had a lot of feelings last year. I know you did, Johnny.
We bucked a lot of feelings.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have just as many feelings. And one good thing here, I just looking, broad spectrum here, we don't have as many night games. So
no, we don't.
Thankfully, we're going to be maybe a little more coherent this year to have that post-game analysis.
Speak for yourself. All right, so let's talk O-line. All right, how good are we hearing? I mean, you said it. We're lacking in depth some.
Yes,
but the starting O-line is scary.
We haven't had a line like this for a long time.
Bear in mind, they've only had 2 days with pads on. But in that time, oh my gosh, the amount of protection that Russ has had, the amount of the way. Oh, hey, we got another one of our buddies in the house. Rob, Bronco Rob, Rick says, what's up, boys? Sorry I'm late to the show. You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm kidding. We love you. Anyway, but this O-line, I mean, from what I've been hearing, Ben Powers absolutely is an immovable object.
Yes.
Now, the only person, I'm going to get to, we're going to get to D-line and all that here in a minute, but the one person that has given him even a little bit of a fit is Zach Allen. Mm-hmm. Which, I'm really excited to talk about him. But going back to the O-line, Ben Powers is an immovable object. And when he does move, he's opening unbelievable holes for the run game, especially in third down and short situations. Garrett, I would predict that every time we see a 3-and-1, you're going to see the ball in either Pookie or P. Ryan's hands, and they're going to be going up behind big number 47, just right up his butt.
It's not going to be lacking.
Not at all.
With the belly on the other side.
Now, speaking of the belly, it did go out on Twitter today, and a lot of Broncos fans were like, oh, great, here we go. Here we go again. He did walk off the field in practice today with a trainer to the locker room. So don't know what's going on there, okay? Nothing has been put out. He walked. He did not appear to be limping. He appeared to be walking normally and not favoring his hands or anything. He might have
that all good in the hood.
Yeah, look, he might have tweaked a muscle a little bit, okay? It happens in any sport to anybody anytime. But I still feel like he's going to be just fine. But you were talking about the belly. On top of Ben Powers, I've been hearing nothing but great things about Quinn Miners. I mean,
he is a power guy that still is athletic enough to be able to pass block, and that's kind of the best of both worlds. But we needed power because we're going to be leading with that run, and I'm really excited to be able to have the 2-guard stance in a line to be able to be pushing forward finally. I feel like we haven't got a lot of push on a line for quite some time.
No, we haven't.
Granted, it's been a lot of mischievous scheme, like us starting last year being a zone blocking scheme and then just deciding one day we just couldn't handle it.
But you know what? With this power scheme, the way it is, and with his athletic as McGlinchey and Miners are, you can still, at some random times, Sean Payton could call in a little bit of outside zone and pull it off very well.
And they're veteran enough to be able to have the headspace, I would imagine, to be able to maneuver around
pull it off. Yeah.
That is one of the nice things, the big positives that we've always heard from Cush is that Kush is a very quick mental player.
Yep.
So all that forms perfectly.
Which,
it really does.
Pivoting to Kush, I'm hearing great things about Kush now.
Yep, I do too.
I mean, makes me still. I'm still apprehensive about it because he has been the weakest point of that O-line for 3 seasons.
Yeah, 3.
But now, if it was Sean Payton, if it took Sean Payton and his staff to bring out to finally polish that diamond in the rough.
Yep.
That is Lloyd Cushenberry, because I'm hearing that he's giving great protection to Russ up the middle.
Well, you know, that center quarterback relationship is unlike any other. I mean, you have your hands in their butthole. So, I mean, like, that probably takes at least a whole year to cultivate.
You feel that?
Get really right.
Yeah. But, at the same time, and then, of course, we got to talk about our bookends because I'm hearing some amazing things. Welcome back to another good friend of this show, a good friend of mine, Garrett Bowles.
The GB Zone.
Yeah, he's back, and he's looking great. But Mike McGlinchey on the right side, all the hate he was getting from 49ers fans, I don't get it. I don't get it.
A lot of holding. There was a lot of speak of lack of effort in a lot of the same regard that we had for GB. Because there was a time we all were negative against GB because GB just didn't look like he was going to do
didn't.
it. Right? He just didn't. But that's what they saw. But we took a gamble on McGlinchey turning out to not be that way. And I really think that's totally a correctable thing under better offensive line coaching.
Which, and and saying that is rough because I can't remember the name of the coach, but But San Francisco has one of the best offensive line coaches of all time.
Correct. Boy, I know it's the former Bronco coach.
Yeah, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Something like that. I can't remember his name, but I do know that he's one of the best that's ever coached that position.
Yeah.
And so who knows? Maybe being here with Sean Payton, maybe McGlinchey's figuring it out, just like Garrett Bowles did. But all I know is I'm hearing really, really good things about his pass blocking for both him and Bowles, and that the two of them could end up. A lot of people are saying. I heard Mike Kliss saying that they could easily become one of the best tackle duos in the NFL. Hank and Zach from our good friends over at DNVR have also said the same. So I'm really excited about that.
We made the investment. The money's there. I mean, they're paid. It's not by lack of trying.
Amen to that. We got a couple shout outs here from D-Rock. He's shouting out Zach Allen. He's shouting out Jay Sims. Appreciate it, buddy. And then he answers the 49ers, just some sourpusses. Yeah. I mean, they're a little.
They're kind of a privileged organization. They have a very snooty high nose.
You have, I mean, they did have Joe Montana and they did have Steve Young and Jerry Rice. And so, I mean,
yeah, it kind of continued for him.
But it doesn't count because, your quarterback of the last few years has been Jimmy Garoppolo. So who cares? But, and then of course our buddy, Kevin over at Everything Broncos podcast. No, this is Ron Samples from Everything Broncos says the belly is good. Sean Payton said.
Oh yeah.
I agree. I like it. I'm really enjoying hearing about this offensive line. But now we got to pivot to the other side of the trench. D-line.
Not as confident.
Okay. I agree. However, I would like to give a massive shout out to the Broncos currently somewhat apparently their hamstrung pass rush. Because from everything that I've been hearing, this pass rush the last few days has been doing a phenomenal job.
Nick Bonito, welcome to the NFL finally. Apparently he is finally blossoming into that bend. The bend that we all thought we were getting when he got drafted out of
the Von Miller bend that we were hoping he was capable of.
And he did that 3-4 times. He flashed on tape in college. There were times where oh my gosh, no one else can do that.
He's done it 3-4 times today.
Yep.
Today. during today's camp.
It's similar to that Baron Browning dip.
Yes,
we saw
it was nice
from him too.
Yep.
So very exciting.
Yeah, very, very exciting. And of course, Isaiah, I talked to him earlier today, and he brought up that our good injury bug friend on the other side, Mr. Gregory, has been actually looking pretty phenomenal. And I said to him, I was like, I have never questioned how good he is ever. Right. He is phenomenal when he's healthy.
Yep.
But he cannot. But just like poor little KJ. Seems like the guy just can't get healthy and stay healthy.
Well, and there's a theory, I think, behind that, too. It's the recklessness in which he plays. Like, if you watch his film and the places that he's successful, he is nuts. Like, he's a beast, the kind of guy that is athletic enough to run the hashes and go chase somebody and, just play completely out of position because he can just do that. But with that, he gets himself in trouble with being out of position, which leads to injuries. So, it's a double-sided sword. It's kind of like what Peter Forsberg was. Peter Forsberg played out of his mind, but he played out of control sometimes, which got him hurt.
And for those that don't know, Peter Forsberg was one of the best forwards that ever played NHL hockey. He played for the Colorado Avalanche. Mm-hmm. And you're right. He was absolutely reckless at times.
Which is fun to watch. I mean, it's a spectacle. And Randy Gregory is that. Randy Gregory is get your popcorn ready because he's gonna pop. He looks different than everyone else.
He goes Pringles, man. Once you pop, the fun don't stop. But unfortunately, then you get to the bottom of the can and Randy Gregory goes down and after 4 games and is out the rest of the season. So if he can just maybe let go of a little bit of that reckless abandon, just a little, and play good, play great, but not recklessly. He might be able to stay in the whole season, which would be great. But the name that I've been hearing is Jonathan Cooper. Yeah. Jonathan Cooper is turning heads, not just on the Broncos organization. I honestly would not be surprised if some team out there with a need for a pass rusher didn't make an offer to maybe a late round,
Malik Reed.
Yeah.
Malik Reed, which, I think you're right. Sadly, I think you are right. Because pass rushers are just that big a commodity that as soon as you see a little spark, go get some value. Go get.
And so I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't suddenly see someone offering up a 6th rounder for Cooper. Now, I don't want to let go of him because of what I'm hearing. I want to see him on this team, at least as depth. In case, God forbid, Browning, Benito, Gregory, somebody else goes down again. Mm-hmm. But from what I've been hearing, probably the pass rusher that has been turning the most heads in camp this week has been Jonathan Cooper. So big shout out to him. D-Rod giving him a shout out as well. Shout out to Scoops Cooper. Love it. He also gives a shout out to Casa Benito. I love it. D-Rock asks us, what is up with Shelby Harris? So we don't know. Shelby did have a meeting with George Payton and Sean Payton. They talked, and then he left the building. We haven't heard anything beyond that. It's very possible that they might be trying to work something out with him to bring him home. I mean, I would love that. How cool would it be? Trade him away to get Russell Wilson, then bring him back 1 season later. How cool would that be?
It would have. I mean, something miraculous would have to happen for that because there's got to be bad blood between him and Sean Payton. I don't know how there isn't.
Not Sean Payton, George Payton.
Yeah, George Payton. Sorry. Yeah, with George Payton, as visible as he was last year.
And as angry as he was about it, audibly angry about it.
He went to the Browns right after, and then I think Mr. Sample said he just went to Vikings today. So.
Which, by the way, also former Broncos guard, farewell, Dalton Reisner had a tryout with the Vikings. Left without signing anything, so don't know. But He'll end up somewhere. He'll land somewhere.
It's nuts he isn't somewhere.
Yeah. I did get Ron did come out and say that when I compared Randy Gregory there to KJ, that has nothing to do with his heart condition. I agree, buddy. What I'm saying is, seems like every time they get healthy again, they get hurt again, or something along those lines. In this case, in KJ's case, it's not an injury so much as it is a medical condition. But my point is, they just can't stay healthy.
Issue, right? Soft tissue.
Soft tissue issue. That's clever. That's clever. It's so punny. Anyway, but you're right. It doesn't have anything to do with his heart condition. I'm not talking necessarily injury. I was just talking about as far as health goes. They cannot seem to stay healthy, whether that be from injury or a medical condition. They cannot seem to stay healthy.
As the great Brock Osweiler said, the greatest ability is availability. Boy, I almost stumbled through that.
It's probably the best thing that Brock Osweiler ever brought to the NFL was that saying.
It is.
But we'll see when it comes to Shelby Harris. Who knows? We do still need some help at that position, especially now that we can finally talk about it because we didn't get to last week. And Yoma Wazarike, Annie is my title for the show that we never got to have was Annie is outie. Because I mean, not poor guy. I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy for you. Look, like
his whole career's done.
How stupid can you be? Like, okay, they've already within the last 2 years punished 16 players. 16 for gambling on the NFL. Look, you can gamble. Okay? You can go bet on the NBA. You can bet on horse races. Hell, you can bet on nut punch competitions for all I care. But when you are playing in a league, you cannot bet on the league that you're playing in.
Yeah.
Look at the 1917 White Sox. Okay, now I know for a lot of you that's over a century ago, and you have no idea what I'm talking about. But it has become known as the Black Sox, not because of skin color. So don't think I'm going racist with this. The 1917 White Sox were an absolutely phenomenal team. Okay, they were on a tear. They were going to the World Series. Everything was perfect. So it was found out that the entire organization, like all of the players, were involved in a gigantic gambling scheme. Okay, now it's a little bit different. Enyoma Wazarike was not placing bets then throwing games. That's not what he was doing. But what he was, but the point is, you cannot bet on the sport that you play in. You can't, because you have too much potential for inside information and for other things. You can't do it. All right? So, and he's outie. He may never come back. Who knows? He is, as of right now, it's for at least one season. But currently it's listed as indefinitely, which means it very well could be that he never makes it back into the league.
And because of that factor, I honestly think he was probably betting on Bronco games in some capacity.
Well, no, I don't know about that, but what I do know is I think that the NFL was looking to make to make a bigger example.
So they picked the Broncos again just after they did with Mr. Hinton.
I don't know if it has everything to do with that, but what I do know is
they do hate
that
Sean
they have already punished how many players in the last 2 seasons for it, and these guys simply don't seem to be getting the message. So I think finally that with Wazarike, regardless of who he might have been betting on, in their minds, let's make this one sink. We're not just going to suspend him for 4 games. We're not just going to suspend him for half the season because they've done that and they've done that. We're not just going to suspend him for 1 whole season because we've done that too with several players. We're going to suspend him indefinitely, and after 1 year, he can appeal with a lawyer. He can appeal to have his suspension removed. But at that point, we can decide whether to let him back in or not. Literally, they're saying, you gamble on this league, your career is literally in our hands.
You're out.
So, I don't know. He's out. Yeah, thank you, Avatar. He points out, don't forget about Pete Rose. You're right. Don't forget about Pete Rose.
Pete Rose was on record saying he only bet for his team to win.
Who cares?
An investment in yourself is always a good investment.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, J.G. Wentworth. It's my money, and I want it now. Anyway, but, we do have a need at that position. So, I mean, I'm still entertaining the idea of Shelby Harris coming home because he is one of the best still on the market at that position, and he has history here.
He does. He lives there. I think he's still a resident.
He still has his home. He still has his home in Denver.
So it makes sense.
A lot of it makes
for
sense
him to return.
And it could be, and George Payton being the guy he is, I'm sure that even with a little bit of bad blood, he could probably talk down Shelby and be like, look, man, it wasn't personal. It was business. Yeah. And, I'm sorry that you had to be gone for 1 year, but we want you back here. And, and maybe even soften the blow a little bit by offering him a slightly bigger contract than most people would think he would get. More than a 1 year contract. Offer him 2 or 3, and he'll be like, yeah, I'm back. So, it's possible.
If Mike Purcell isn't healthy enough to start, I mean, we might have to. We might not have any options.
There really isn't much recourse at this point.
No, and Mike Purcell's, I think, on the PUP list.
He's on the PUP.
He's not ready to go. So
speaking of pups, I cannot get my pup to shut up. But but anyway, it's a sad puppy. But I would like to see Shelby come back. I would, because I'd love to see those hands going up in the air for the orange and blue again.
Absolutely. He has a unique skill set. There's not a lot of other people that bring that on the defensive line. He's got mitts. Johnny, one other position that I wanted to just touch on real quick was the kicking competition we had.
Yes! Thank you. Oh, Avatar says his birthday was last week. Happy birthday!
Hey, there you go, Avatar.
Happy birthday to you. All right. That's right. Next week I get to sing to the president.
Oh, wow. Keep
Happy
your skirt
birthday, Mr. President. Just kidding. I'm no Marilyn Monroe.
If Biden could blush, he might blush, but I don't think it's not able to.
Yeah, I think no, it's gone. He's just pure white sheet now.
I was gonna say gray, but
yeah.
just pure gray.
And I like this. George Payton doesn't make the personnel decisions anymore. It's all Sean Payton.
I would tend to agree with him. There is definitely a new sheriff in town. Sean Payton doesn't give any, he doesn't take any shit from anyone.
No, he doesn't.
Payton, not Mr. Walmart, not anyone.
Not anybody.
Sean Payton's show.
Yeah, he's the sheriff. Oh, D-Rock says his was last Monday. Happy birthday to you. Had to. All right.
Just put it on the soundboard.
No, I'm gonna sing it every time. I'm gonna give it a personal touch. Leo's.
Like Uncle Leo?
Hello. I don't know. Hello. Anyway, so yeah, the kicking competition. Let's talk about it.
Maher
versus Elliot Fry.
Yeah.
So today they opened the kicking competition up, and each took a kick from 38, 40, and 42, and then Maher took one from 48. And not a single one missed. Oh, no! Now what do we do?
And from what I read, Greg Penner came down and watched it. It was like a spectacle that a bunch of people gathered around for an old school kickoff. Everyone knew that someone's job's on the line. Everyone gathered around. It was made to be a big spectacle. And because, a kicker needs that artificial pressure. I mean, you do need to kind of, simulate that. That's a huge aspect of kicking.
You do. You do. And okay, to give a little background on Mar, the guy, hold on, this dog is insatiable. I can't move my hand without her ramming it with her nose like pet me.
She's
Watch. There she goes. Hi, Ray. Yes, I'm happy to see you too, big girl. Okay, so real quick, let's see. Ron Sample says his wife's and his anniversary is August 3rd. 10-year wedding anniversary. Congratulations, buddy. Well done. That's really exciting. That's something. Well done. Happy anniversary this week to both Mr. and Mrs. Samples. Love it. Love it. My wife and I, we just celebrated 13 years this year in June. So, that's impressive. Well done. Jay, I'm so sorry. But you got 3 beautiful kids out of it.
Oh, that's true.
That's very true.
Very true.
So, let's see. D-Rock says it's cool they haven't missed in practice, but can it translate when it counts? Well, here's the thing. Thinking about Mar, the guy was on a almost record-breaking tear for the Dallas Cowboys last season in the regular season. But then in the playoffs, he missed 5 extra points in a row.
I was going to say, yeah. When it counted, when it came down the stretch.
Now, granted, one of those games they won. And that was that first playoff game for the Cowboys. They won that game. But it was very close margins because he'd missed 4 extra points. And then in that following game, he missed an extra point and they pulled him. So, how much of that do you think, Jay, was mental?
Well, at least in the competition that it was here between these two kickers, Elliott Fry looked absolutely god-awful from what I saw. He couldn't even, it was like a high schooler kicking against an NFL kicker. They weren't even on the same stratosphere. So it wasn't that Brett Maher was amazing. It's that Elliott Fry looked that bad. So I can't really tell from that competition if Brett Maher's struggles in the past are going to continue or if he just was kicking off against someone that had no business being there in Elliott Fry. I'm still very scared because Brandon McManus we took for granted for a lot of years.
Yeah.
A lot of years we took for granted. And that will come back to bite us at some point.
I do think that some of what we think of.
We don't have a plan.
Well, Brett Maher might be it. Like I said, that's why I'm asking you how much. That's why I'm asking you how much. He was on a record-setting tear last season before the playoffs. I think it got in his head. That's why I'm asking you that is because, to be kicking the way he was, including one of those kicks in the regular season over 60, and not in Denver, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy had at that point had gone 17 for 19 in the regular season on field goals. That's not counting extra points. 17 for 19 is a pretty good margin for error.
Yeah,
and
it is.
And like I said, one of those over 60, and he hit it, and it wasn't in Denver. So that's impressive.
It is.
So I think what happened in the postseason truly was just it was the yips, man. It was mental. It was in his head.
I hope.
I hope so too.
We're going to be a small margin for error type of team with the type of offense and with how our team is set up.
Yes, we are.
It scares me.
So but given what we know about his ability, about what he accomplished last season before he hit that brick wall in the postseason, I am able to be somewhat slightly skeptical. Good God, I can't talk tonight. Somewhat skeptical, but also optimistic that something because it's just like I said about Russell Wilson. Everybody's been talking so much crap on Russ, and I've said it all off season. a quarterback, pardon me, a quarterback who had just had 9 Pro Bowl seasons, who'd had a almost record-setting season before he hurt his finger before he came to Denver, doesn't just drop off a cliff like that. It doesn't just happen. Okay, something else has to take place. And I've been saying that about Russ, and I still hold true to it. He's going to look a lot better this year because things are going to be different. And I say the same thing for someone like Brett Maher. He was on an absolutely amazing run as a kicker for Dallas until something happened. Something got in his head. He got in his own head, and he missed in the postseason. He can learn from that. That is completely fixable.
Yeah.
And especially with a coach like Sean Payton and a special teams duo like what's their names? Mike what's our special teams coach's names? Legends.
Yeah. I was gonna say
oh, come on. Broncos special teams. What is it? Oh, hang on. Now I'm embarrassed. Again, you guys, I'm so sorry about tonight. I don't know what's going on with my head that I'm having these brain farts all of a sudden. In my defense, it has been a very, very rough week for me.
I was gonna say it's Westhoff is one of them.
Yeah, Mike Westhoff and Ben Kotwicka. With a duo like that and a head coach in Sean Payton, they're going to get him right. They're going to get him right. And who knows, he could end up being, kicking in the thin air of Denver. He could end up being the next Jason Elam. He could end up being the next Matt Prater.
I'd rather have someone with experience, I guess, there than someone with no experience.
Well, Elliott Fry has played in all of 3 or 4 games in his whole career.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was necessarily a serious candidate to begin with.
I believe it was to create competition.
Yeah.
Now, Avatar coming in saying he just got an autograph from a coworker from David Bruton. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty
I loved Bruton when he was here. I thought we let him go with
the 30 on right now. Different 30, but still a 30.
Yeah, But I loved David Bruton when he was here. I kind of felt like we let him go too early.
Yeah.
He
left right after the Super Bowl, didn't he?
He did. I feel like we could have held on to him just a little bit longer, but after that Super Bowl, a lot of them guys went off and made money. They got to make money.
What happens?
It's what happens. You go win a championship, dudes make money. Look at Bruce Brown. Makes me sad. It's going to make me sad seeing Brucey in a different jersey next season, but he earned that money, and the Nuggets couldn't pay it. So, anyway. Well, you know what? It is an hour and 22 minutes into this show, and it is time to sign off. There's so much more we could talk about. I wish that we could. I'm sorry, you guys. But I've had a lot of fun. I don't know about you, Jay. Real quick, because I do want to point out, Jay, that during our episode the 2 episodes where we chose our season, our wins and losses for the season, that the newly formed rivalry between the New York Jets and the Denver Broncos, thanks to Sean Payton's big mouth, has you changing your tune on the Jets game.
I do. There is no way that Sean Payton is not going to just absolutely light a fire under these guys for that game. We're going to be so jazzed. That is going to be a game that I bet will be one of the highest viewed regular season games of the year.
That we might get flexed to primetime for that game. Who knows?
It's going to be nuts. I cannot wait for that game.
Oh, me either, cuz. Oh, my God. But anyway, so Jay is now on board with me and the 12-5.
Yeah, I got that.
Yep, Jay went from 11-6 to 12-5, thanks to Sean Payton's big mouth.
Yeah.
So
you're welcome.
love it. And the last thing I want to say about Sean Payton's big mouth, look, dude, I understand wholly that your apology was probably scripted and forced by the organization, but dude, don't ever apologize when you say what you're thinking, when you say what you mean. Don't let anybody bully you. You do you, boo-boo. Don't let anybody force you to apologize about anything. because that just, one, that makes you look weak. But two, anybody who knows about the kind of coach you are knows that you would never apologize for saying something like that. So we all know that it was fake anyway. So no point. But again, I get it. The organization probably made him, under penalty or something. So whatever. But
Probably. But
probably,
he's got to save face because he's already a marked man in the NFL. Go ask John Gruden how that feels. But Sean Payton's on that list. He's already been suspended an entire year by the league. He is not on Goodell's good list. So
they're not buddies.
They're not. So we'll be made an example of. Not surprised we were the first gambling, huge crack.
Indefinite, the first one with an indefinite suspension. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So, anyway. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for tonight's awesome episode of Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast on the Orange and Blue Network. Training camp week. We've still got 11 more practices for training camp. Actually, it's more than that, but it's 11 that are open to the public. So, guys, continue to enjoy training camp. We will be back with you next Tuesday, if not sooner. We might try to sneak a show in this weekend. Who knows? We'll see. But if not, we will be back with you next Tuesday, 876-5. All right, guys, make sure that if you have not already, before you get out of here, hit that like button, subscribe, and share the video out there for everybody. Show everybody that you are part of the Orange and Blue crew. We love you guys. We cannot wait to see what this Broncos team is going to be capable of this season, because in the words of Sean Payton, if this is not a playoff team this season, I'm going to be pissed. I quote him, and I second it. So, that being said, thank you, Broncos country. If you'll get your arms out with me for a big mile high five, here we go. Mile high five. Woo! I love it. That was terrible, Jay. Just kidding. I love you. All right. We are out of here, Broncos country. Let's ride.